Vampires, creatures of the night, they stalk our legends, they haunt our stories. These blood-drinking monsters appear in cultures around the world, from ancient civilizations to modern times. The vampire myth endures, but where did these stories come from? What is it about these creatures that continues to fascinate us? Let's embark on a journey through time. We will explore the dark origins of vampire myths and their surprising global reach. Our first stop takes us back to the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia. In ancient Mesopotamia, people lived in constant fear of demons. These malevolent entities were believed to prey on the living, causing untold suffering and fear. One of the most feared demons was Lamashtu, a terrifying figure in Mesopotamian mythology. This malevolent goddess had a taste for blood and was often depicted in dark, ominous carvings. She was especially notorious for attacking mothers and stealing newborn babies, a horrifying act that struck fear into the hearts of many. Another demon, Lilitu, also preyed upon the vulnerable, adding to the terror of the time. She was known to seduce men and drain their life force, leaving them weakened and lifeless. These Mesopotamian demons shared unsettling similarities with the vampires of later folklore. They craved blood and life force, much like the vampires we are familiar with today. These demons haunted the night and preyed on the living, creating a sense of dread that permeated the culture. While not precisely vampires as we know them today, these ancient demons planted the seeds for the myths and legends that would follow. The fear they inspired echoed through time, influencing the vampire stories that would emerge in various cultures around the world. Let's journey now to ancient Greece, a land rich in myths and legends. Here we encounter creatures like Empusa and Striges. These monstrous beings preyed on humans, draining them of their blood. The Empusa, a shape-shifting demon, could lure unsuspecting men to their deaths. She often appeared as a beautiful woman to ensnare her victims. Then there were the Striges. These creatures were often depicted as birds of prey with a thirst for blood. They were said to attack sleeping victims, draining their life force while they slumbered. These Greek monsters, with their shape-shifting abilities and insatiable hunger for blood, added new layers to the developing vampire myth. Section 4, Bloodsuckers of the World, China, India and Africa. These regions, rich in history and culture, have their own unique takes on the vampire myth, each with distinct characteristics and stories that have been passed down through generations. The vampire myth wasn't confined to the ancient Near East and Europe. It spread far and wide, reaching the far corners of the world, including China, India and Africa. Each of these regions developed their own versions of these bloodthirsty creatures, deeply rooted in their cultural and historical contexts. Cultures around the world developed their own versions of these bloodthirsty creatures. These myths were not just stories, but were often used to explain the unexplainable, to instill fear or to teach moral lessons. They were a reflection of the societies that created them. In China, there's the Jiangshi, a type of reanimated corpse that feeds on the living. These creatures are said to hop around, their arms outstretched, seeking their next victim. The Jiangshi is often depicted in traditional Chinese folklore and has been a part of Chinese culture for centuries. These creatures are said to hop around, their arms outstretched, seeking their next victim. The Jiangshi is a terrifying figure, often used in stories to scare children and adults alike, reminding them of the thin line between life and death. India has the Vetala, a demonic spirit that inhabits corpses. These creatures possess supernatural powers and a thirst for blood. The Vetala is a prominent figure in Indian folklore, often appearing in ancient texts and stories. These creatures possess supernatural powers and a thirst for blood. The Vetala is known for its cunning and intelligence, often outwitting humans and causing chaos. It is a symbol of the darker side of the human psyche. African folklore tells of the Adz, a vampire-like creature that can shapeshift and often takes the form of a firefly. The Adz preys on unsuspecting victims, draining them of their blood. This creature is deeply embedded in African mythology and is often used to explain mysterious deaths and illnesses. The Adz preys on unsuspecting victims, draining them of their blood. It is a fearsome creature representing the unknown and the dangers that lurk in the dark. The Adz is a reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of death. These diverse myths demonstrate the global reach of vampire lore and its ability to adapt to different cultures. They show how different societies have used the vampire myth to explain the unexplainable, to instill fear, and to teach important lessons. The vampire myth is a testament to the power of storytelling and its ability to transcend time and place. Section 5. From ancient myths to modern horror, the making of Dracula. The vampire myths of old didn't disappear with the rise of modern society. Instead, they evolved, eventually giving rise to the iconic vampire of literature, Dracula. Bram Stoker drew heavily on ancient folklore when he crafted his masterpiece. Dracula's shape-shifting abilities, his thirst for blood, his aversion to sunlight, these traits all echo the ancient myths. Stoker's Dracula became the archetype for the modern vampire. Countless books, movies, and TV shows have drawn inspiration from his creation. Dracula's enduring popularity speaks to the power of these ancient myths. They continue to resonate with audiences even today. Section 6. A dark reflection. Why vampire myths endure. What is it about vampires that continues to fascinate us? These enigmatic creatures have been a part of human folklore for centuries, captivating our imaginations and haunting our dreams. Why do these creatures born of darkness and fear still hold such a prominent place in our collective imagination? Perhaps it is their ability to embody our deepest fears and desires. Perhaps the answer lies in the vampire's duality. They are both terrifying and seductive, a combination that is hard to resist. They are monsters, yes, but they are also often portrayed as sophisticated and alluring figures. This complexity makes them more relatable and intriguing. This blend of horror and attraction makes them a particularly compelling subject. The vampire's ability to walk among us, hidden in plain sight, adds to their mystique. Vampires also tap into primal fears. The fear of darkness, the fear of being hunted, and the fear of losing one's humanity. The fear of the unknown, the fear of what lurks in the shadows, waiting to pounce. The fear of death itself, and the possibility of an existence beyond it, one that is both eternal and cursed. All of these anxieties find an outlet in vampire stories. They allow us to explore these fears in a safe and controlled environment. By confronting these fears in a fictional setting, we gain a sense of control over them. The vampire myth endures because it speaks to something fundamental within us, a reflection of our own inner darkness and the eternal struggle between good and evil. Section 7. The undying allure of the vampire. From the Mesopotamian demons to Dracula and beyond, the vampire myth has taken on many forms throughout history. These creatures, born of darkness and fear, continue to hold a strange power over our imaginations. They reflect our deepest anxieties, our fascination with the macabre, and perhaps even a hint of envy for their immortality. As long as these fears and fascinations persist, it seems likely that vampires will continue to haunt us. Their presence a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks at the edges of our collective consciousness. Subscribe to The Hidden Relic for more spine-chilling explorations into the unknown.